Hello, so I'm about to make a few more videos about objects in JavaScript and p5 and how you can deal with these objects in arrays if you want to add some features to your code, like clicking on the objects or deleting objects from the array or making your objects and have display images, all sorts of things like that. But before I get there, I want to do something to kind of simplify my workflow. It'll help you with your workflow, and take a break from coding for a second just to look at how to move your code, part of your code, to a separate file / separate tab in the editor. So this is really p5 specific, although it actually is relevant even if you work using the p5 editor. But here you can see, here's a sketch that I built probably in a previous video where there's 10 objects that are made in setup. Those objects are being moved and displayed, and you see them on the screen. And the code for those objects is all in a constructor function. This constructor function's job is to make those bubble objects. New bubble triggers this function, a new object is made, it's returned back, and that object is then put into the array bubbles. Now, this works, it's on one page, but this bubble object could get very, very complex and could have a lot of code. I'd like to put it somewhere else. So what I would like to do right here is hit this plus button. What this plus button will do is make another file associated with this particular project. So when I hit this plus button, I get a window here and I can give it a name. I'm going to call it bubble.js because I want a file just to put my bubble constructor function in. So it can be in its own neat and tidy place, because neat and tidiness, well, it just makes me happy, but the world should be messy. It's okay to be messy. I can't handle it. Okay, so there we go. Now you can see I have two tabs. I have sketch.js, which has all my code, and I have bubble.js, which is blank. So what do I want to do? I want to go to Sketch, and I'm going to take all of this code. I'm going to say Command X to cut it, and I'm going to go over to the bubble tab, and I'm going to say Command V to paste it. And so I now have two tabs. Sketch.js, you can see it fits all here in the window, which is just so extraordinarily nice, right? There's the beginning, there's the bubbles array, there's setup, there's draw. This is all the code. It's just so, look at this. It's just such a nice program. All there is an array, and then you put things in the array, and then you do everything to the array. It just works, and it's lovely. But everything that has to do with the bubble is now here in this separate tab. So I can look at the bubble constructor function. So when I want to add new properties to bubbles, like bubbles should all have their own color, or bubbles should have another function where they check to see if they're off the screen. All of that stuff I can add here. Now, I missed a step, and this is a step that probably will eventually be taken care of for you by the editor, but currently this is not something the editor does. Oh, and I didn't even realize I had left this open from when I was setting up for this video, but if you're just really here first, your window would look like this. So you would just see you have a sketch tab and a bubble tab. But actually up here is a settings icon, and I can click settings, and here's an option for show sidebar. And what the sidebar is going to show me over here is all the files associated with this sketch. So as you're aware now, you have your two JavaScript files, your sketch.js and your bubble.js. Both of those JavaScript files are where you keep your code. But there's also this libraries folder. Now that libraries folder happens to be where the p5.js library itself is. And you know what that is? It's just another JavaScript file. So it's so different. p5.js is just like more JavaScript. It's just you didn't have to write that. When you call ellipse, the definition for the function ellipse is in that file. And if you want to learn more about how p5.js works and start contributing to p5.js, you might open that file up and take a look through it. Now, a lot of it will have weird, crazy syntax that you haven't seen before, and lots more dots and lots more parentheses. But that's the kind of thing that you might build your way up to eventually and to peek at it every once in a while. You can also see that there's p5.dom.js, which is a library, another library file that I'm planning to make use of in hopefully some videos that I make today, but we'll see about that. So, but the key file here actually is index.html. That's the file that when you run your sketch, that's the file that's actually being loaded into this page here. And you know what just happened? It said uncaught reference error. Bubble is not defined. Why is the bubble not defined? I've defined it right here. Well, the problem is I made a new file called bubble.js, and I didn't tell index.html to refer to that file. So if I go over to index.html, you'll see here, I'm going to close the preferences, you can see here that there are all of these script tags. I noticed another bug for the editor that I should file. When you hit save as a project, it should probably update the title of that project in the HTML file. Someone want to file that bug for me, please. p5.js editor on GitHub. But I think that that's what's happening. But anyway, but I'm back to what I was talking about, which is that you can see here's what this page is loading. I need the p5.js library. I need the DOM library. I'm not actually using it, but it's good. It's there. The sound library. I'm not actually using it, but the editor is importing these 3 libraries by default, as well as your code. Because, of course, you need your code to run. Well, now my code is in both sketch.js and bubble.js. So what I need to do is take this line, hit Command-C for copy, and then reproduce that line again. Now I have 2 lines referring to sketch.js and sketch.js twice, but of course what I want now is the second one to refer to bubble.js. So any JavaScript files that you add, it's like you have just one long file. The order doesn't really matter. But you can now keep your code organized if you have like your mouse press function in one file and your bubble constructor function in another file and set up and draw in another file. That might help you sort of like move back and forth and sort of see where you want to edit your code. So now if I close this out and I go back to settings and hide the sidebar again, now I'm back to just nice old happy land where I have my bubble tab, bubble.js, my sketch.js tab, and I can run this sketch. And there we go. So as an exercise, if you're doing exercises and following these videos, you might take something you've previously written, try to add a separate tab, move your code around, organize it, and see if you can get the same exact thing to run. And so what I'm going to do in the next video is I want to start looking at some additional topics, like how could I sort of pass a mouse pressed event to each one of these objects. So 6 minutes and 45 seconds, one of my shortest. I'm always happy when I make a short video. I guess this is short. I probably could have done this in 2 minutes, but we can dream. We can all dream. We can have a dream of making a 2-minute video that explains something nicely. Okay, see you guys in the next video if you choose to watch, which I understand if you don't. Okay, goodbye.